I think the question was, how do I get more upsells? But then how do I increase my dollar amount on each upsell? Number one is if you can get real-time data, man, it's push your supervisors or your boss or whoever it is, or if it's your own thing, invest in getting real-time data. You need to know where your team is at. You need to know where your agents are at. You're the people you manage. They need to know it. You need to know, if possible, within the interval, right? Every hour. If they took 10 calls, what was their upsell cost, right? Price per upsell. What was our revenue per call, right? Break it down. And if they can see it real time, so let's say your goal is, I'm just throwing out numbers here. Again, I'd love to learn more. Let's say your goal is to have 5 upsells in a day, and you want your total or your average upsell amount to be $100. I don't know the price, $10. Let's say $10. So 5 upsells at $10, so $50. So each person needs to have an upsell amount, revenue per upsell, revenue or a total revenue of upsells of $50 per day. They need to know where they're tracking every single day. So if you go back, I sent you the link, YouTube. If you go back and look at managing the spreads, micro and macro pacing, you'll see, and in the box coaching, you'll see some of these principles in play. Is every hour, every interval, they need to know, and you need to know where you're at and where they're at, right? If they've taken 10 calls with 0 upsells in the first 2 hours, right, they're way behind. So you got to catch that early enough where if you know that if they've taken 2, 3, 4 phone calls with no upsell, hey, what's the coaching opportunity there, right? Are they burning through phone calls? Are they not following the proper transitions into the upsells? Are they not closing? Are they not rebuttaling? So you need to know if they're 0-4 for phone calls, right? I think you mentioned that. You have basically, you wake up in the morning, you can see how you did yesterday. That's okay, but it's tough, man. So let's address that. So first of all, what I just talked about, get real time, and that's how you manage it, and that's how you improve your upsells as a whole. And obviously, roll out incentives. There's a lot to it, right? But I think you know what you're doing. But that's the first thing. That's the best way to manage it. Now let's address your current situation. You have 24-hour delayed data. How I would do it is every morning you wake up, and I'm assuming because you have 24-hour historical data, you can also see kind of like where you're pacing for the month or the week. And so this is kind of where it goes in the box and managing the spreads. What I would do is I would print out every day the previous day's performance by rep, so every rep, and they need to see it, right? Post it. I used to print them out and post them on a pillar in the middle of my cubicles, in the middle of my bay, and highlight green, yellow, and red, my top 10% or my top 20%, my middle 80, and my bottom 20, right? Highlight them in colors, green, yellow, red, so everybody knows where everybody's at. They can see who's top, who's middle, who's bottom. And I'd post it for 3 periods, right? So I'd post it for the previous day, I'd post it for the previous week, and I'd post it for like month to date, and even have like a last month versus this month, last week versus this week, and then obviously yesterday, right? And I'd post those intervals every single day. I'd update them, right? Obviously last month and last week, those aren't going to change. That'll stay up there. But you'd be printing out basically 3 new pieces of paper every day, the month to date, the week to date, and the yesterday. And on all 3, on the month to date, week to date, and yesterday, highlight them, green, yellow, red. And what's pretty cool is you start to keep those papers. Don't throw away the old ones. Keep the old papers, and in one-on-ones with agents, you can show them, look where you were last month, look where you were at last week, and where you're pacing this week. Look what you did on last Tuesday, and look what you did on this Tuesday, right? That would be on Wednesday morning because you're getting Tuesday's data. Look what you did here. So that's how I would manage it in your current situation. That's going back is if you have individual agent visibility, individual employee visibility. If you only have overall team, same principles apply just as a team. But man, if you don't have agent level or employee